our guest, our special guest, England star, new dad, Saints captain, testimonial year, Matty Lees. Welcome. I think the big question we've got to start with, because everyone will want to know, you were injured, of course, in the cup tie at Workington. When can we see you back in the Red V?
Yeah, it's been a difficult start to the season. As you know, I got that MCL injury back in the game against Workington. So I've been working hard behind the scenes, trying to get myself fit and try and knock a few weeks off. You know, they initially said it was 10 to 12 weeks, which is, you know, the time frame for an MCL injury. But hopefully I can get back a bit sooner. Obviously not rushing, making sure I take all the right care in getting myself back and firing. You mentioned
the injuries that you suffered during your career. You also touched on the fact that your career could have been over. I mean, you picked up a particularly an awful injury, didn't you, with the bowel problem, the bowel injury at Leeds. You missed the grand final in 2019, but that could have been that. I mean, how close was it?
Yeah, it was a really tough period of my career. That you know, not only missing out on them finals, but to potentially never play rugby league again, you know, was absolutely heartbreaking. And it probably made, when I come back from that, it probably made me appreciate everything a lot more. And I think when you go through such a challenging time, I think that's made me the person I am today. So I'm happy that's happened, because I might not have done what we've done.
What was it? What happened?
Yeah, so I had a really small tear in my bowel. Yeah. So I got tackled off the ball a bit late, off Brett Ferry. Yeah. So I passed. That was the last time I passed the ball as well. Passed the ball, got it late, and just felt winded, like the wind had been knocked out of me. We had the Challenge Cup final in a couple of weeks, so Millsy come on, took me off. Remember being sat at the side of in the dugout at Leeds, and just felt really unwell. Couldn't really pin what was wrong with me, but it had come in waves. So when I felt all right, I was fine. But when it hit me, it really did hit me. And I remember speaking to the doctor, and that's the last thing you would have thought it would have been. Is that? So we ended up going to Leeds Infirmary. I didn't get on the coach back, and they said if I would have got on the coach back, it probably would have been fatal, because it's obviously like poisonous in your body, and that's why I was feeling unwell. Luckily, they managed to find out what was wrong with me. I had like this special drink, and they could see how that goes through your system on the scan, and they could see that it was leaking out somewhere, like internal bleeding. So ended up having emergency surgery, full open up surgery. I want to say I'd like to have seen what they did, but it wouldn't have been nice to watch.
Seriously, it was that serious? If you got on the bus,
yeah,
who knows what might have happened?
Yeah, they said it would have been fatal. Yeah, so I was lucky.
Wow.
You know, I'm very grateful for St.Helens as a club. You know, all the medical care, and you know, Simon Perrott, the doctor, Nathan Mill, the physio. You know, they were all great with me, and you can't put anything on that sometimes. Like, to have such good people around the club like that who can just know what to do in them cases. You know, it's outstanding really from the club. And like I say, I might not have been here otherwise. You know, not only playing again.
It's astonishing, Matty. But I didn't know that. I don't know if many people did know that. But I mean, you literally could have died playing rugby league.
Yeah, of course. And it didn't stop there, to be honest. You know, when I got to the hospital, they actually drew a circle on my stomach in case I needed one of the stoma bags. So that would have been life-changing in itself. You know, like seeing people go through what they have to do with that sort of injury and problem. You know, it changes your life forever. Like, not only playing rugby, but just life normally. And I didn't know what I was going to wake up to. That was a scary part. But luckily, I come through all good. I just had plenty of pipes in my stomach everywhere, and loads of staples up my stomach. But again, massive raps to the club. You know, I think Nathan Mill, the physio, because they'd never seen it before, that he was up late at night researching how to get me back playing, which was such a grey area. Nobody knew much about it. But I made that World Club Challenge game. I made the start of the season for 20 20 it was. So very grateful for the club, and yeah, probably
remarkable. Isn't it?
Yeah,
it
probably
puts everything into perspective.
It does, yeah, and the biggest sort of upset as well was probably missing out on the finals. You know, watching the boys do that in 2020. I know they didn't win the Challenge Cup final. In 2019, but they won in 2019, and to beat Old Trafford when they lift that silverware, I was absolutely made up for them. But on the flip side, I was jealous of what they'd done.
Yeah.
I knew that had been such a big part of the 2019 season.
You were so much on the outside.
Yeah, and straight away we speak about Johnny Lomax type person he is. All the boys are celebrating in the sheds, and you know we can see that I'm there, and you know, I made up the boys have won, but he comes straight over to me and promised me he's been exactly the same position in 2014, but he waited a lot longer to win his. But he turned around and said to me, "Well, we're going to get back for you next year, and we're going to win it, and we're going to do it for you." And I went away from that thinking, yeah, whatever. Like, we've not been in a final for that many years, but as the season was going on, we got there again, and we won in 2020. We beat Wigan, and you know, me and him got together and had a beer together in the changing rooms. That's probably one of the best feelings I've had for a long time.